Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Sunday, October 29th, and I thought before I'd show off some of my latest cards, I'd share with you a paperback book that I've owned since I was a child. This one's The Baseball Life of Sandy Koufax by George Vesey. I bought this like in the 5th grade at one of my grammar school's book fairs. Remember, we used to have those yearly book fairs, and I saw this Koufax book and desperately wanted it. And I have not read it in probably a good 40 years, but I remember it being a pretty good read. So I wanted to share with you that first before I do anything else. So, all right, let's take a look at some cards. Now, all of you know I'm working on a 1941 play ball set, and I'm making a push, not a final push, but a push before the end of the year to get a few more cards. But I found this really good article on the PSA card website by Kevin Glue he was writing about the 1941 play ball set. And naturally, he brought up cards that are missing, kind of like what we tend to do with every set. We like to talk about what cards were not included. So he brought up several players, and I've just players such as Bob Feller and Lefty Grove, Luke Appling, Johnny Mize, Enos Slaughter, Lloyd Wainer. And I decided I would also like to have some representation of cards from that era of players that didn't make the 1941 play ball set. So, because of that, the first player I'm going to share with you today is Lou Boudreau. Boudreau did not make the 1941 play ball set. I cannot tell you why. But let me tell you a little about him from this 1948 Leaf card. He played 15 seasons, primarily with the Cleveland Indians. He was also the 1948 player manager of the world champion Cleveland Indians. A Hall of Famer. That same year he won the World Series with the Indians as the player manager. He also won the American League MVP. And an 8-time All-Star. He also won the American League batting title in 1944 with a .327 batting average. Now, Boudreau is credited with inventing the infield shift, which came to be known as the Boudreau shift because slugging Red Sox superstar Ted Williams was a dead pool hitter. He moved most of his Cleveland Indian fielders to the right of second base against the splendid Splinter. Now, with characteristic stubborn pride, Ted Williams refused the obvious advice from teammates to hit or bunt to the left side against the Boudreau shift. But the great hitter that he was, not changing his approach against the shift didn't affect his hitting very much. Boudreau was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1970, and that same year his number 5 was retired by the Cleveland Indians. And this card, let me bring it up a little. It's a nice looking 1948 Leaf card. So I'm going to try and pick up some cards from players that did not make the 41 play ball set. And we'll start with Lou Boudreau. Luckily, I already have some of these guys from other sets, but this is the first one I'll share with you. So the first cards I'm going to show you from 1963 are cards I just picked up from the batter's box out of Humboldt, Texas. And if you've never bought from them, I talk about them a lot. The batter's box is a pretty good store, and they have a lot of good vintage cards, and sometimes they have 15% off sales. And I know that if you spend over $100, the shipping's free. There's no sales tax. No, they do not sponsor my show. It's just a store that I do. When you're set building, they are a great resource to use. So let's see what I picked up today. Today I have catcher Ed Sadowski of the Los Angeles Angels. A lot of these cards are going to be high numbers. I know he is. Not all of them, though. Don Elston, a pitcher with the Chicago Cubs. That's also a high number. Al Worthington, a pitcher with the Reds. That's another high number. And a Phillies pitcher by the name of Johnny Klipstein. I like the sleeveless uniforms there. Did the Phillies ever wear sleeveless uniforms? Let's see. Now some lower numbers. Jerry Lump of the Kansas City Athletics. I've said this every time I show an A's card from 1963. Love those A's uniforms back then. Those were sweet. Right before they went to the green and the yellow. That's Jerry Lump. Vada Pinson. Vada Pinson of the Reds. I remember Vada Pinson on the Angels, but that was 10 years later. Just starting out, this is his 5th season with the Reds at this point. That's Vada Pinson. Another LA Angel is Jack Spring. Jack Spring. And my last card, I have to admit, I really like this card just because I don't think, I like these combo cards a lot, but I've never seen one like this one. This one is series foes. Bill Stafford and Billy Pierce. I am assuming these guys pitched against each other. They pitched against each other in Game 3. But I liked how they put in like the World Series starting pitchers on a combo card. They usually don't do that. They usually put superstars and batting champs and guys on the same team. But here are series foes with Bill Stafford and Billy Pierce. So the rest of the 63s are from Greg Morris. I picked up 5 in the past week. First one is Jack Sanford, pitcher with the Giants. Card number 325. That's Jack Sanford. Next up, Bill Rigney, the first manager of the Angels. He managed throughout most of the 60s for the Angels after, I think he was with the Giants right before that. And he did a good job with the Angels. Angels never won. They were an expansion team. But it's a good card of Bill Rigney. It's interesting how the managers are different, that they have their logos down here, the team logo, as opposed to the players who have a separate photo there. But there's Bill Rigney. Let's see. Jim Owens, pitcher for the Reds. Number 483. I am learning that the semi-high numbers on the 1963 set are even harder to get than the high numbers. A lot of the cards that I need are in the 400s. Let's see, who's next? Pumpsy Green, shortstop and second baseman for the New York Mets. He'd already played several years for the Red Sox by this point, and he ended up with the Mets. And the last card, I think this is the only high number I picked up, and that is, I was about to say Hall of Fame manager. I don't think Danny Murtaugh is in the Hall of Fame, and if he isn't, I don't know why not. Two-time World Series, 1960 and 1971 with the Pirates. Managed a lot of great players for Pittsburgh, and that's Danny Murtaugh. So with these 5 and then the ones I just showed you from the batter's box as well, I am down to, I think I need 92 more cards to finish the 63 set. So that's where I'm at right now with 1963. And our last card today is a 1932 U.S. Caramel Lefty O'Doul. This was not an easy card to find. I have tried for a few years to get this card, as he was a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers for a couple of years. He played primarily, he played 11 seasons from 1919 to 1934, primarily with the Dodgers and the Giants. He was a 2-time batting champion with the Phillies in 1929 and the Dodgers in 1932. In 1929, though, O'Doul had 254 hits and batted .398 for the Phillies. Now, the following season, he hit .386, but only finished 4th for the batting title, as Bill Terry batted .401 that season. But in 1932, O'Doul won his second batting title, this time with the Dodgers, batting .368. Now, after his playing career, Odul becomes a little bit more of a San Francisco icon. He returned to the Pacific Coast League as manager of the San Francisco Seals from 1935 to 1951, and he later managed several other teams in the PCL and becoming the most successful manager in that league's history. One of his outstanding accomplishments while managing the Seals was developing the young Joe DiMaggio. Now, Odul refused to take any credit for DiMaggio's success, saying, "I was just smart enough to leave him alone." Odul was instrumental in spreading baseball's popularity in Japan, serving as the goodwill ambassador before and after World War II. The Tokyo Giants, sometimes considered Japan's baseball team, was named by him in 1935 in honor of his longtime association with the New York Giants. The logo and the uniform of the Giants in Japan strongly resemble their North American counterparts. Now, besides the ineligible shoeless Joe Jackson, Odul has the highest career batting average of any player eligible for the National Baseball Hall of Fame who was not enshrined. On November 5th, 2021, he was selected to the final ballot for the Baseball's Hall of Fame Early Days Committee for consideration in the class of 2022. He received 5 of the necessary 12 votes. Maybe he'll get there someday. But this was a great card. I didn't think I would ever get this card. I'm only looking for a handful of Dodger cards to finish my Dodger team run, and this is one of them. But it's a great card to have, and I think I'm going to put him on my display wall in my hallway. So if you stuck around with me this long, thanks so much for sticking around, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game.